Cyber virtual threat, keystroke kill, identity hidden I fulfill. Cyber assassin, that's my prowl. Codes in hand, you'll fall. Hack and strike, chaos I make. Cyber realm, my domain to take.
So we're ready to cross into a different field of conversation. We're going to start talking about the actual cultivation of abilities. I want to start with psychic abilities. Psychic abilities are seated in the mind. It is a mechanism of the lower mind, like bees, insects, ants, and then you get into birds and tight-knit like fish. You've got these entities and social groups that together can act as one, together independently, because they have an open connection with each other at all times. The switch is on. They can react simultaneously in unison as a group, singularly as one. We all have this capability. It's a process of the lower functions, and it's something that we've devolved. It's something that we have used less of, and whether that is a bred out of us thing, a intentionally shut down capability, or a governing of mental faculties. Some things are better left out when it is not going to help you be a good serf. At any rate, growing psychic faculties by stimulating, engaging the fornix. The fornix is the part of your brain that wraps around both sides. If you see it, it looks like ram's horns, okay? And this fornix wraps around the central reptilian portion of the brain and the center of the brain as well. And it truly acts as a communicator. If there's a Metatron in the brain, this would be Metatron. It's the one that communicates between the different realms of the mind and the spirit, and it's what causes consciousness to make sense. It really makes us able to feel and say things in a way that it will make sense to another. It's the connection. It's what wraps around the seat of the soul and makes the seat of the soul capable of being seen, known, heard, felt through communication, through a shared sense. From this trappings around the seat of the soul, which is truly you've got the pineal gland, you've got the hypothalamus, you've got this area where the soul actually sits in a chemical bath, basically. You've got all your, endorphins and adrenochrome, different substances in the mind that basically cause your euphoria, your melatonin, your serotonin. It's where your factory of chemicals creates what makes you feel what you feel. It also creates things that you typically don't create. Okay? It has more capabilities than what we use it for. Okay? So, from the fornix, this is where you start to grow your energetic capacity. The capacity is the obstacle, and that is in essence your vessel, untrained, unhoned, is too small, too frail to hold energy in an effective amount or time to be of any good on the journey to having capabilities of psychic connections. It leads into other things that I'll get into in other videos. But I think starting with psi abilities is very important, because going to the point of capacity, you're taking your imagination basically, and you are imagining that area of your mind where it looks like ram's horns and it's somewhere under the gray matter, but above and around your reptilian medulla oblongata, the whole area of the cortex of your brain, and also the center of your brain is enveloped by what looks like ram's horns. And it's basically just a chemical highway, and receptors and things are sent through it. It's like you have read-only memory and random access memory. And this is somewhere where this is where the code writing starts. Like, forget either of those. This is where you write the code. If there's something in between read-only and random access, it would be this fornix area of your brain. So from that area that is almost interdimensional, it's where your dream body and your self meet and are known together as a single entity. And by imagining it being there and feeling it as if it were expanding outward and stretching and pushing out like this, like pushing out and back, and then it curls out like this and goes. So it's the imagination and the focus on this area of the brain and the pushing outward of it just in your mind's eye is literally all you need to do, but do often. Do as a habit if you want to form a capability to use psychic abilities at your will. You expand your capacity through imagination of the expansion of the fornix region of your brain's bowels, the inner portion of your brain. Imagine the ram's horn-shaped portion enveloping the chemical plant and the substrate portions of your brain. Feel it stretch out from inside of yourself, out, up, and back. The pushing out of this energetic field will become the psi body's conduit to intuit. You will know. So, I mean, intuition is something that we all have, but some people's intuition is better. And truly all it is really is the connection being clean and powerful enough to be accurate and relied upon. Through it, this place in you is where inside and outside are bridged. A long, wide, supportive bridge is necessary to wield psi capability purposefully. close your eyes or not, focus on forcing outwards what is unbloomed component. Reach from it towards all outside. It wants to permeate into the air as unfurled ram's horns pushing to the sides and backwards. Expansion gives way naturally to a wider field of perception and connectivity to any energetic field at will. Inculcate, build the capability. Supplicate. That part is bound to you doing it for good reasons, for pure purpose, and through blessings, not by selfish intent. By pure intent. And Sakura's purpose, Sakura is to use your strength and your capability to aid others in their time, especially their most desperate time of need, to provide that security and that need a hand because you are capable. That needs to be the purpose. These abilities, although you can cultivate them intentionally, just by working on that simple expansion, just the expansion exercise, pushing outward and imagining the growth and the expansion outwards, is like taking your rolled up antenna and unrolling them and reaching them out. And once they're reaching out, then you can start practicing on, like, looking at the back of someone's head and decide, okay, 2 seconds is pretty quick for them to realize that somebody's staring at the back of their head. That means you're very powerful, right? But if you can sit and stare at someone's back of their head for 30 seconds and they not even notice, capacity, it's a problem. It also, when you gain capacity and gain the ability to reach out and affect somebody from a distance and them notice immediately, there also becomes the necessity of being able to reach out, feel someone from a distance, but so gently that they don't notice. Level 3. We're not doing levels up yet though, okay? Let's just start at the beginning. Growing your psychic faculties by stimulating, engaging the fornix. Imagine it. Imagine it pushing, growing, reaching outward, and just that simple exercise. That is inculcation, inculcating. It is the formation of something new that does not yet exist, except for others have obtained it. Now, I don't want to sit here and say that this is my idea. This is stuff that I have found through research over much time. Putting all the pieces together is part of the fun, but once you find out how so many of them are buried in the sand and hidden in impossible places behind doors that people keep locked just so that the information doesn't get into the wrong hands. When you, as a specter, in essence, can connect the Akashic records directly and just imbue yourself with the knowledge by wanting. Just ask the question, and if you have supplicated, if you have grown your relationship with spirit, through supplication, through worthiness, through good deeds, through blessings of others, and your inner conversation being pure and beyond reproach, then it will be easier for you to have spirit guidance towards the essence that is spirit in us all, and the connectivity that's already there, just set aside due to its aversion to selfishness. It really doesn't help you in today's directives, how we're supposed to be as a consumer society. Church of self, you're really supposed to just want all the things, and obtaining all the things should be your number one goal, especially being liked by everyone, and all the important things like hitting the social cues on time and caring about the football game or clothes or whatever the trend is currently. Those things are all very important to a point, but I want to say that I feel like there's an awakening socially that people on the whole are going through, where we're all feeling a hunger and a thirst for something that obviously we cannot obtain through alcohol, drugs, sex, and wanton destruction of our own selves. Maybe they were right. Maybe it only can be found through God and through goodness and through spirit. But at the same time, I can't deny the other side of things where everything is always God, 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 or devil, devil, devil. But I mean, what's wrong with the middle, honestly? So as a good Christian, diving into psychic abilities and astro traveling exercises, and diving into your capabilities to self-manifest your own destiny through realizations and purposefully planting seeds in your own future for you to obtain the things that you want, as an intentional act. These things are all, well known in certain circles, but those circles typically are the occult. They're the ones who are not good, and it's the very taboo side of the tracks, right? Like, you're not supposed to like that kind of stuff. But is it evil? I keep going back and forth to that. Like, if you wear the priest robes and you perform a miracle, it's cool. But if you practice witchcraft or sorcery and you perform a miracle, it's witchcraft or sorcery, right? It's not. Is it not the same? If it's done in goodwill with good intention, is it not good? Does it have to bear the name of God? And then there's just not enough time to go into all of the symbolism involved in Adam, the atomic beginning and the structure that holds everything together, and the correlation of Adam in the Bible, and Lucifer being cast into the pit, and the correlation of light being trapped in matter. It gets into the matter and then it's trapped, and it pushing outwards causes matter to be solid. So it's, in essence, this world exists because Lucifer sacrificed, or was sacrificed, to forever live in the pit, burning, trapped. But for that sacrifice, we have the material world. Is that real? Is that what's going on? I don't know. So another interesting theory is that the pentagram, right? So the pentagram is a very sacred and protective totem, always has been. Just like so many other things, they've taken something that once was holy, like the swastika was a sun symbol for several thousands and hundreds of thousands of years possibly. And then the Nazis took it and now it's bad, right? Satanists took the pentagram, now it's bad. You know, symbols across the board. You know, the Baphomet 8-pointed star was Hecate's first, but before that it was Babylonian, and it was Isis, and then it keeps going back, right? So where does it all start, and why were these symbols broken? Like, the protection and the power is geometric. It correlates to mathematical law, numerical law, the laws of the universe, the laws of existence, the immutable laws, like that the number 9 exists and doesn't exist. When you're breaking down numbers and, you know, taking a large number and another large number and then adding all the singular numbers together, but leave out all the 9s or anything that has to do with a 9 or 18 or whatever. Leave them out or leave them in, you'll come out with the same reduction number. When you reduce and add those together and keep reducing them down to a single number, it'll always reduce the same whether you have the 9s in or you leave them out. So 9, the number 9, literally exists and does not exist in functionality. Try it. It will blow your mind. All numbers have these aspects. They have their realm that they rule. They have their one thing that they're really good at and nobody else can do. Well, the pentagram is that way, right? But a lot of people don't know that the true pentagram is a protective symbol. It's one of the highest order of protection. The dangerous pentagram is when you leave one side out, because that's where the light gets in or out. If it is not whole and complete, that's when it's dangerous. Just something to know. Whole thoughts, whole symbols are as they are meant to be. Incomplete thoughts, incomplete symbols, before they're delved into, complete them. Either through research or through spirit. But definitely don't go diving in the dark. Usually old things are already inhabiting it and they don't care about your misunderstandings and misgivings and feelings and misinterpretations. There are no forgivenesses. Incompetence is irrelevant. So the practicing of reaching out to other people, I don't even think that working with other people that know what you're doing is the easiest way to make sure that you're doing it right or being effective, because when you're doing it and you're practicing on people that are unaware that you are practicing a skill on them or towards them or directing your energy towards them, to put more simply, if they're unaware, when they feel it, you'll see them react. This is why I came to this point, because when I lived in the Bay Area, I worked in San Francisco, I lived in Richmond. It's an hour on the BART train every day, there and back. So I get on, I'd ride first stop, so I'd be the first one on that train in the morning, because nobody in Richmond was getting up at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, getting on that train and going into the town at that time from that city. I was the only person on that train. It filled up by the time I hit Frisco. At any rate, I got in the habit about a year in of picking a rose on the way to the BART train, and I'd put that flower somewhere on the train where I could see it. And I tell you, in a year, and yeah, there were that many flowers on the streets and stuff in Richmond. At any rate, I would put this flower and watch it and see if anybody noticed it. It started out waiting for somebody to notice the flower that was sticking out of a seat or one of those little billboards on the wall. Nobody ever noticed the rose or the flower that I put. And it dumbfounded me to the point that I started watching the people that I felt should have noticed it. And through the watching of them, that's where I started to realize that some people noticed faster than others that I was watching them. And then it definitely had effect on how much intent and how much focus I was putting towards them had an effect on how long it took for them to notice they were being stared at. And then it did progress to a point where how quick, how much force, and how to affect without necessarily them noticing, or to just start to feel them is what it turns into. Like you reach out to them and you're literally having a neurological connection where you feel what they feel. And it can decode into thoughts, but it starts as a feeling. And the way that you know that you're doing it right is you have feelings that make you feel outside of what you feel like you normally do. When you're typically feeling emotions that don't make any sense, that is that natural reaction of you're actually empathically feeling somebody else's emotions, you're connecting to them. If you have an open channel, if you are an open channel, then you're going to feel everybody everywhere you go, and you have to block more than reach out. But in the beginning, it's less about blocking and more about just establishing a connection and understanding what it is and being able to use it intentfully. And I did it by staring at the back of people's heads in transit on the way to work and back home. And eventually came to the point where I could get them to turn around quick or just feel them out for a long time. This is where I say morality and these kind of things, because it is something that is an interactive thing. And if somebody feels weird, that's why they turn around right away. You know, when you think weird things or you feel, in a negative sense towards someone, obviously their hair's going to go up and they're going to turn around. But if you're not being like gross or any weird thing, but appreciating the other person as another person, you know what I mean? But almost examining them as you would yourself, they're comfortable with it. And that's how you begin to practice the art of psi ability.
And I say all of that because as you grow your capacity, as you start on the way as a seeker on the path of knowledge and understanding, you will absolutely start to attract things that want to siphon off your extra energy, whether they are entities solo, disembodied, embodied, especially through the weak, the wounded, and those who are incompetent. They are easy hosts for spirits, and they will tell you things through them that they are unaware what they are imparting to you. So be aware. If you don't truly have a good working understanding of your spirit versus other spirits versus the reality of the spirit realm, the repercussions of energetic exchange, the shielding of your own energy, protection of your own energy, and goodwill towards others, maybe don't delve into this too deeply. But if you're already born into it, or well learned, or spirit guided, it's going to be a fun journey because we're just starting out, and I'm going to start pushing the steps, the keys, the points that make things realities, where we get into psychic abilities, where we get into astral traveling, astral projection, the actual steps to do it, not just talking about it, how to step by step cultivate the capability and the ability and start to experience it as a reality.